students logging in the attendance.
Unlock 24 your files.
Yeah, nice. And we're live. Hello and good evening.
What's up, everybody? So welcome to the webinar here for your prep course work. You're going to have a highly qualified engineer just for you. You're going to be going over HTML, CSS over time, JavaScript, jQuery, and all those other fun things. Before you get started on that, make sure you take advantage of all the questions, opportunities as you go along. Admissions right here. If you have any questions about the coding school or the Premier Coding Bootcamp, anything about anything that has anything to do with Origin Code Academy, feel free to give us a ring out at origincodeacademy.com. You can email us, give us a phone call, anything like that. So we're available to you. But I don't have to introduce Christian because Christian's already right here. So ad hoc at its best.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a good time. Ask the questions, you guys.
Yes, take advantage and learn how to ask your questions. So take advantage of this, have fun, and as I say in the email, happy coding.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ned.
Penny for your coding.
All right. Hey, guys. So see some of you are tuned in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. And so we're able to see kind of the interface for the prep course. Over on the right, there should be a chat section of the webinar. And anytime you have a question about the pre-work, go ahead and throw it in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking about kind of the interface, how it works, and common things to avoid when you're going through the pre-work. So we'll start, I guess, from the very beginning when we're completely logged out. And if you log in, take you to the main dashboard where kind of you have the content that you're going to be completing your lessons as you move through, and then on the left a menu that you can toggle and kind of upcoming lessons that you have coming up, and then which lesson you're on currently and previous lessons, which you can always go back and access. So the screencasts are represented by the TV icon. And these are cool because you can play, pause, and record just like a normal video. Play, pause, and scrub through. I'm sorry, not record. That's my job. But at any point, you can pause the video and jump in and edit this code yourself. So that's kind of a huge advantage when it comes to learning how to code versus just looking at a static screen and then having to type the code into your own code editor, per se. So it just makes it all nice and easy, compact into one tool where you can watch the video, listen to some instruction, as well as jump in and mess with the code yourself. So we can add an H2 in here and say, this would be a subheading. And feel free to jump in with any questions you have, specific, if you're stuck on a specific exercise, that type of thing. Go ahead and throw those questions in the chat section, and then I'll be able to address them one by one as they come in. So that's Scrimba. Let's see what else we can do with this tool. If we look over here, if we can continue the video, then obviously I lose my changes. But if you ever want to go back and see your changes, you can move this browser around. But over here, this arrow pointing to the left opens up another menu where you can actually go and see the code that you changed. So I'm like, okay, I added a subheading at about 52 seconds. You just kind of have these markers as you go through. Let's go ahead and add another one just for the heck of it. So let's say we get about here, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I kind of want to try to add my own list of things in here. And go item 1. And then I can always refresh the browser and see that my item 1 and item 2, my changes to the code actually rendered to this mini browser here. So that is super cool. Can everyone hear me all right, by the way? Can someone just throw in the comments really quick and just let me know? Hello. Can anybody hear me? Well, let me know if you can't hear me. Just throw a message into the chat over on the right side of the webinar Sound is good. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Very cool. All right. So then we can continue watching the video.
Now takes another HTML element called a list item, denoted by the
only showing on YouTube. Okay. So, okay, cool. Gotcha. So just watch the video on YouTube and ask your questions in here, similar to how Alex and Ryan are posting in the chat section. Just go ahead and throw your questions in there for anyone who's listening. All right, so we can go back over here and look and see that some more edits were made at 1:58, and the list items that I added are there. So at any point, you can go back and see your changes, which is very helpful. And then you can always continue on
LI tags.
Live lesson.
For LI tags,
So besides the Scrimba screencasts, the next thing that you'll move into is the coding challenges. Well, besides the written lessons, but that's pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of read through, make sure you have a grasp and understanding of the main headings, and take your own personal notes if that's your style. You can always copy and paste these as well, or you can always go back to any lesson that you previously completed to refresh yourself, kind of. But you obviously can't go ahead because that would be cheating. So you can view the lesson that you're currently on. And let's go ahead and walk through a coding challenge together, because this seems to be where a lot of folks get stuck and they're like, wow, this is a lot of instructions. I've never seen a code editor before. What the heck is this? And then maybe they'll just get out of there before even trying this. So I'll just walk through one with you, show you how simple it is to get started at least, and then you should be able to follow this pattern for the rest of the exercises. So we come in here, our very first coding challenge, instructions. Navigate to the index.html tab in the code editor. Okay, great. So I see that I have a few tabs over here for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It says to go to the HTML tab, great, and then hit start. All right, so some code was populated for us in the code editor under our HTML tab, which is obviously where we're going to be doing our lesson because it's an HTML, CSS lesson. And if we look at our first bullet point under exit criteria, it's asking us to create a paragraph element inside of the body element. So first we can look back or look and see that our body element is here with a handy comment to let us know that our code should probably be written in here. And if you ever get confused about what a P or paragraph element is, you can go back into the previous lesson about HTML elements, and we can scroll down until we see, oh, P or paragraph elements are for containing blocks of text, each on their own line. Okay, great. So now I'll go back to my progress. Here's one tricky thing. If you do go back, you're going to have to start the current lesson that you're on over again. So I'll show you, let's complete this one and move on to the next one. And I'll just show you a little bit more of the functionality. So in order to see if our code is passing and we've met the exit criteria, it says to hit the test button in the top right corner. So I'll go ahead and do that, give it a test, and our results are actually populated below the code editor. So if you come here and you're like, oh, I don't see anything, sometimes if your screen is bigger, you might be able to see the results naturally, but you might also have to scroll down and see that, okay, great. Both of our tests are passing, and then I get a nice next button up here to move on to the next challenge. So now I'm on challenge 2 out of 5. Here is where if you do go back now, you don't have to worry about losing that progress. So you've completed that challenge. Once you go back, now we should still be on number 2 out of 5. And so if you ever have to go back, don't worry about losing progress there. Just go and browse the document as much as you need. Go back to the Scrimba if you feel like it. I'm wondering, let's see. So your local edits will disappear from the Scrimba after you've moved on from this lesson. So make sure that you take note of any changes in the code that you made that you might think would be helpful. So let's go ahead and see what the next coding challenge is all about. It says to navigate to the index.html tab again. All right, great. And hit the start button. Okay, I've seen this before. It looks pretty familiar. I have some nice comments letting me know that I should write my code between these lines. And the first thing it's asking me to do is, within the body element, add some content elements. So 2 heading elements, an H1 and an H3. All right. And below that, 1 paragraph element. And let's see if our tests are passing that one. Okay, awesome. So now we've completed 2 coding challenges. I say we might as well just go ahead through with all 5 and see what happens after that. So again, we navigate to the index.html tab, hit the start button, get some code. So now our comments have disappeared. And this is kind of just a part of the learning process where it's like, okay, now you should know what the body element is and where your code should go. So at this point, you should know that, okay, I'm just going to put it between these body tags here. And then again, you just follow the exit criteria bullet by bullet. And the first one is asking us to add a div container element. Div stands for division of the page, just a way to wrap other HTML elements. So within that div, we're going to add another div. And finally, within that one, we'll open it up and give ourselves some space. And then we're going to add a paragraph element. Now, this is teaching us about nested elements. So this P is nested within this div, which is nested within this div, and technically nested within the whole body itself. And within there, we just need to write some text. Nested paragraph. So we'll hit test, and looks like we got our next button. So if we scroll down, great. All 4 of our tests are passing now. So let's actually see what happens if we forget something, part of the exit criteria. Let's say, oh, whoops, I spelled paragraph wrong. Let's hit test, and oh, looks like maybe our tests are not passing now. So you can always scroll down and see that first our body element should contain a div. Okay, we got that one. Our previous div element should contain another div. Looks like we got that. And looks like we have our P element inside of our last div, but looks like we're not passing this last test. So unfortunately, we did something wrong. Now, how do we figure out what we did wrong? This big blob of text here is known as an error. And so here it's called an assertion error, and it may seem like a lot at first to understand, and you're like, oh, what is this? What does this mean? This is crazy. But for the most part, you're going to take a look at this top line, and it's usually going to have something pretty understandable. In this case, it's telling us expected nested paragraph to equal nested paragraph. However, this paragraph is obviously spelled incorrectly, and it therefore does not equal paragraph with an F, does not equal paragraph with a PH. So that's pretty silly. Let's go ahead and change F to PH and hit test again. And excellent. Now all of our tests are passing, and that was a simple just debugging process, which is a huge part of coding. It's actually once you get going and you're able to like write out a lot of code on your own, then you run it, hope for the best, and usually you have a plethora of errors, and you just kind of work through one by one. So let's actually throw a few more errors in here and check that out. So let's say we actually, instead of making a div here, we made it an H3 or heading element. Well, in that case, our tests are going to pass or fail for a different reason. So now we see that our first div should contain another div. Oh, but it doesn't. So this error is not as helpful, obviously. 0 to equal 1. You're like, I'm not exactly sure what that means. So you can click the error itself and scroll down for a little bit more info. This is actually the test itself. It's another bit of code that you don't have to worry about just yet. But you should be able to kind of see what you did wrong based on the name of the test itself. Div element should contain another div inside. Well, I come up here and I'm like, but, oh, this div does not contain another div. So I should probably change the h3 to a div. And I just made a mistake there. So test, and all our tests are passing now. So we're making progress. We are at 4 out of 5. Let's go ahead and do another one together just for the heck of it and see what we got going on. So navigate to the index.html tab. I already hit start. And first I need to update the span to be an h1 header element. So I take what looks like our span element and I'll just change these to an h1. Here's a cool trick that might help you, or it might confuse you, but if you hit Command D, it'll actually select all instances of the current word that you have highlighted. And so I can erase both of these spans at the same time and replace them both with an H1. So again, that was just highlight the word or phrase that you want to get multiple of and hit Command D, and you'll select the next one in line. And then if you continue to hit Command D, it will select all the rest of them from the document until they're all selected. In this case, we only have 2 H1s, so it'll only select these 2. And we can adjust the text at the same time. So this was a span before, and now it just needs to be an H1. All right, so after we update our spans to be H1s, the next thing is update div to be an Eemm, or emphasis element. All right, so first we will look for our div, which I actually don't see. Oh, here it is, div, right there in between our H1 tags. So if we hit Command D again, Command D again, and replace those with Eemm, then that should satisfy the second. This is true. Oh, Alex, so this depends on the code editor that you're using, but most modern code editors will allow you to do Command D or Control D. Let's see if I can pull up my other code editor. So this is Visual Studio Code, the main editor that we use here at Origin Code Academy. And let's see, we'll just open up a new folder. We'll say demo. All right, so if I create a file inside of here and say test.js, and JS stands for JavaScript. All right, so if we say HTML, oh, thanks, Ned. I'm glad that you learned something. All right, HTML, and then we'll go head. And then body. All right, so then let's say we have our container div. And inside of that, we'll say H1. Test it. And let's say I have a bunch of these headlines on the page. So in this code editor, which is, Command D or Control D. So I'm using a Mac, so I'll press Command D and boom, it starts selecting them down the page just like that. And then we can adjust these to say title of our web page or something like that. So you get the idea. This is Visual Studio Code, again, our favorite code editor here. There are others such as Sublime Text. I'll open that up, and then let me just switch my screen over to that one and just demonstrate the similar functionality. So if we just create a file and call it index.js, see, save, okay, and HTML. Actually, we don't need to do that. We can do testing. And then I'm pressing Command-C to copy, which in a code editor, you don't even need to select the whole word that you want to copy. You can just select the line that you're on, press Command-C, and then V, and it will take the whole line and copy it. So this is a longer sentence. So I'm here at the end of the line. If I press Command-C, it'll take the whole line, and then if I press Command-V, it will also we'll just continue to paste that line as many times. So then we go back to our Control-D trick, or Command-D if you're on a Mac, and it works the same here in Sublime Text. That's one handy thing. It won't work in like text edit, I believe, and those type of things, but text editors that are designed for coding, all the modern ones will allow you to do that. So I'll close out of this, and then we'll go back into our prep course. All right, so we're on lesson 4 out of 5 in this coding challenge. So let's go ahead and see if we can make some more progress and get on to the next lesson. Where did we leave off? All right, so update the H2 to be a P, or paragraph element. Take our H2, use our Command-B trick, and just change that to a P. And I think, actually, it did some predictive text there. But we just need those to be Ps. And now I believe we've satisfied the exit criteria, so let's go ahead and test that out. And awesome, it looks like our page rendered and all of our tests are passing. And we can move on to the final exercise in this coding challenge. So navigate to index.html, hit the start button, and let's go down the exit criteria. Put your name within the H1 element. So I find our H1, go between the tags here, and I'll put my first and last name. Next, under the H4, create an ordered list. Oh, wow. Uh-oh. So I've done unordered list before. I know that's a UL, but shoot, I don't exactly know what the OL is. Well, you can do two things. Let's go, you can open up a duplicate tab and then go back to our lesson and look for lists. Oh, okay, great. UL and OL are very similar, it looks like, and they all take, looks like list items are elements of a list, and they can be both used by UL or an OL. Okay, great. All right, that was a great refresher. Now let me just go back and say, okay, the OL looks just like the UL and probably contains some LI items within it. All right. Add 3 list items. Okay, so here we can use our Command-C, Command-V trick without highlighting anything. So I'll just go to the end of the line that I want to copy, press Command or Control-C, and then Control-V to make 3 list items. All right, so we added 3 list items. Okay, and it looks like we need to put some ice cream flavors in here. All right, if you guys are feeling up to it, throw some ice cream flavors in the comments, and I'll put them up here. I'll start one out here and say chocolate. Anyone have any other favorite ice cream flavors? I know Ryan does. He's probably a Jerry Garcia guy. I'm not sure though. Let's see if he responds here. How about you, Ned? Ned, Let's see. We'll just go mint chocolate. Hey, thanks, Alex. Appreciate the participation. Say mint chocolate. Hey, Ned, yes. What other chat shall I be monitoring? YouTube. Yes. So, no, I do not see the YouTube chat, Ned. Unfortunately. Oh, cool. Cookie dough. Okay, thanks, Ned. I didn't realize there was another comment section. So if you're putting your comments into YouTube, if you don't mind just putting them in the webinar itself, so that I can kind of monitor just one or the other. Okay, great. So mint chocolate, spell that correctly. And then Sunita, yes. Sorry if you were commenting in the YouTube video. I apologize. Did not see those comments. All right. Under the second H4, create an unordered list. All right. So I'm familiar with the unordered list. Go ahead and throw that guy in there. And added some more list items. This time, again, I need to add 3. So, and I'll do a quick copy and paste. So we've got 3 of them. And then, again, back to the audience, throw out some favorite colors out there. Mine is blue, so go ahead and fill that one in first. But, yeah, send me your favorite colors, and I'll throw them in here. See, this should be the last. Turquoise. All right, Ryan. Thank you. Turquoise. And red. All right. So now we have our unordered list. And we have 3 items with favorite color in any order. Excellent. Let's see if our tests are all passing. Looks like we got our next button. So, boom, check it out. My top 3 favorite ice cream flavors and my favorite colors in any order. But these are top 3 in a very specific order. So, now that we hit next, it looks like we have completed this whole coding challenge, and our next lesson button over here finally is highlighted, and we can move on. So great, let's do that. Bam. Now we are into level 3 HTML attributes. So one important thing to note is that once you've completed the exercises, you actually can't go back to view those, which some of you, that might be a relief. You're like, thank goodness, I never want to see those exercises again. In the future, if we get enough requests for it, we might add the ability to go back to those exercises. So if you do think you're going to want to hold on to those, I would recommend, well, let's go ahead to the next one and I'll show you what you can do. If you know you're going to want to come back and look at these in the future, then I would suggest taking the content from the instructions, and even once you hit start, going and taking the actual code itself, and you can always save that into another in either your notes or your own code editor or something. Or I'll show you this tool called Code Pen. And I might have to sign in here, but let's see. So if I create a new pen, we kind of have a similar layout on this tool called Code Pen. It has HTML, CSS, and JavaScript tabs. HTML, CSS, JS. So if you do, in fact, think that you're going to want to view these code challenges again later, you can always take the content that is within each of these tabs and create your own pen out of it and save that. And then it's going to ask you to sign up for an account and all that, but it's free. It's always a free account, and it's a great resource for storing these code challenges that you won't be able to go back and access once you've completed them. Now, lessons and videos, you can always go back and view those all the way back to the beginning. So All right. Actually, let's go ahead and sign up for an account. We'll do like a test account. Christian Farland. Origin Code Academy testing. And I'll use my real. Let's see. All right, so now I've created my free account, just as simple as that, and I can save my pen as HTML void tags, or let's see, Web 100 Level 3 Lesson 1. Do something like that. Web 100 Exercise 3 Lesson 1. Something to that effect. And then now you've always got this to come back and look to if you want to in the future. All right, so that we got through a code challenge today. We viewed Scrimba and got a feel for how that works. Playing,
there are two kinds
pausing, editing the code, and reviewing your code changes by going to this tab here. Actually, let's make a change so we can view that one more time. And then once you go back,
attributes.
Now we have some notes saved at 2 seconds. So we viewed Scrimba. We reviewed how to go back and look at a lesson in case you need extra help. And we got through the first coding challenge together. So I'll leave it open here now for a few minutes. I'll stay online and maybe just go through some of these exercises. But feel free to ask any questions that you've got. If you're stuck on a particular challenge, I can always skip ahead to that one, and we can do that one together. Or if you have any questions just in general about coding or the school itself, just fire away. So let us know, and I'll be here hanging out for about another 10 minutes if that's if that works for you guys. Thanks for everyone who was paying attention and who joined us today. We'll be doing another one in the future, and hopefully have some more features to where you can go back and view the exercises that you already completed, and any other suggestions that people might have, send them our way. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on going through these coding exercises. Thank you, Sonita. All right. I'll check that out. Let's see what happens if we hit test again. Looks like the same bear. What happens if we try place dog? Not a thing. Alex, regarding the regular course, so sessions actually start every 2 weeks. So once you decide that you're ready to make the commitment, you would speak with Ryan or Ned and choose your starting date pretty much. Like our next one, I believe, is coming up June 4th. We just had a session start on Monday where 6 new students started with us. And it's always nice to they'll stick together and kind of be on the same pace for as long as they can. Some people are going to excel, and some people are going to take a little longer, depending on, you know, if you've had experience before, if you've ever seen code before, if this is completely brand new to you. But to answer your question, Alex, every 2 weeks we have a start date, and so whenever that fits in with your schedule, and whenever you're ready to commit, then it's pretty flexible in that regard. That's a great question. I'm wondering if Ned or Ryan are around with an exact percentage, but I can only speak for myself and say that I actually went through this program 2 years ago in 2016. I was one of the first cohorts that went through, and I had zero coding experience prior to this. And so I was a receptionist at a law firm and just not sure what I wanted to do. You know, I had messed with Excel and Outlook, and they had a website that had obviously a webmaster who I would work with sometimes, and I was always intrigued by what he did. He was working from home. I'm like, this guy's got the life. So I came in with zero experience. If I were to guesstimate the percentage, I would say about 80% have zero coding experience. And if Ned or Ryan are around to correct me, then go for it. But yeah, I'd say the majority of our students have zero actual coding experience. A lot come from technical backgrounds of some kind. They've worked with computers, obviously, Excel, Outlook, maybe, you know, downloaded some things from LimeWire or torrented a movie here or there, you know what I mean? Like, done a few bits and pieces of advanced computer work, but like, for the most part, they have no experience how a development team works, how engineers collaborate, and that's really what you get here is like the collaboration aspect, and how much actually goes into the design and planning of coding, and that's about 80% compared to 20% is actually coding. Like, the majority of it, once you learn how to code, then boom, you're great. The planning and the designing is actually what takes up the majority of your time, and it's what you want to spend the most time on, so that you're not rewriting code and going back and like fixing design flaws after you've already coded it. So that was a big thing that I learned here. Yeah, of course. Would love to hear where you're coming from, Alex. If you got some time, love to hear a little bit of your story. Sure. All right, I'm going to go through these last 3 exercises, and then I think I'm going to, oh, there we go. Padres marketing. Oh, very cool, Alex. So yeah, that's Petco Park right behind us, and that's amazing. Let's see. Worked for another company in marketing. Okay. Yeah, so you obviously have been around the industry a bit, and we work with the marketing team quite a lot, and I'd say it's just a different part of the team. That's awesome, man. Let's see. Hey Alex, thanks for participating, and I'm stoked to see that you're signing up for the pre-course, and actually hope to see you in the Slack channel. I'm not sure if you're in there yet, but let me see if I can show that real quick. Slack. Yes, so this is the Slack channel just for the prep course. So make sure once you sign up for the pre-course that you click the link in the email to sign up for Slack, and then you'll be able to get in here and we can answer questions for you. Like Joe today, we had a little conversation. He was stuck on an exercise, and we were able to help him through it. And then, yeah, so make sure you do that and make an appointment with Ryan. And I really look forward to meeting you. It's kind of crazy talking from screen to text. So it's a little new to me, but I appreciate meeting you, hearing a little bit of your story, and that you took the time to listen today. So hope to see you in the Slack channel, and hope to see your progress through the pre-course, and then hope to see you here in class one day. So I really appreciate it, Alex. Thanks, man. And I'm just going to finish up this last exercise and then probably get out of here myself. So thanks, everybody, again. You too, Alex. Thanks, man. Okay.